Hey, joining us live for a big announcement, we've got Mike Ginsberg. He is the chairman of the 8th District Republican Party in Virginia. Mike, thanks for being with us right here on the John Fredericks Show.
Thanks so much. It's my pleasure to be here. Delighted to join you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Mike, so we understand you got a big announcement to break here on our show. What is it?
That's right. I am really pleased and proud to announce that I am endorsing Pete Snyder for lieutenant governor in the 2013 Virginia statewide elections.
Pete Snyder for lieutenant governor. Now, this guy, Pete Snyder, not a politician, an entrepreneur, a businessman. He's come from nowhere, really, to now be one of the major contenders. You're involved in politics. You run the 8th district for the GOP. I just want to make our audience aware of what that is. It represents Alexandria, Arlington County, Falls Church, parts of Fairfax County. Really, you've got some of the largest delegate blocks in the state that's going to be at the Republican Party convention on May 18th in Richmond. So you've been in politics. You're the chairman there. You've got many, many elected officials from Senator Steve Martin to Delegate Scott Langenfelter, Supervisor Corey Stewart, Supervisor Susan Stimson. Why Pete Snyder?
Sure, and just to preface it, I think any of them would be great candidates, and whoever the nominee is will be. We have a great field, and any of them would make great lieutenant governors. The reason I'm supporting Pete, I think, is several reasons. First, he's an innovator. Whether in his business, he's been a successful business entrepreneur, and he knows what it takes to create jobs. Especially, as a tech entrepreneur here in Northern Virginia, that's a very attractive quality in a candidate. And he's done that, and he's done that very successfully. In addition, I think if you look at the way he's campaigned over the last 2 or 3 months, he's got a very innovative campaign operation. His operation at the Advance, whether it was his barbecue pig rig that he had out there, or having Lieutenant Colonel North come to the Advance, to his tailgate at the Redskins game on Sunday. I mean, this is somebody who has really put a lot of thought into the campaign effort that he's waging, and I think it's an innovative campaign that I think will be very attractive to a lot of the voters that we need to reach. I guess I would mention just in passing is that he's been very supportive of our grassroots work in Northern Virginia in this past year. I worked with him directly on a lot of different grassroots outreach activities, and he was always there, and so was his wife, helping us to rally supporters, rally volunteers, and really help us build the party here in Northern Virginia, which we need not only for 2012 and 2013, but obviously going forward.
I tell you what's interesting to us, Mike, is when this started and Snyder got in it, and along with Jean Marie Davis, he made his campaign announcement on our show, which we certainly appreciate it, but we kind of looked at it, businessman, entrepreneur, not any elected official experience. We kind of saw him as an outsider, a long shot bid, really. I don't think I've ever seen a candidate makes up so much ground so quickly.
Yeah, I think, as I say, he's been very aggressive, but also innovative. The things that he's done are different, but very smart, and really geared toward raising his exposure. And I will tell you one other thing that's very attractive about him is, when we were working in our, we had a victory office in Alexandria to support portions of the 8th District. And, even though he's not an elected official, I think, he's got the following quality, and that is in our victory office here in Alexandria, we needed to get phones put in, of all things. And we were having trouble getting the phones. There were issues sort of down the chain. And I spoke to Pete. I said, we're kind of getting caught up in some red tape. Can you help us? And, as the chair of Virginia Victory, he got on the phone and just cut through the red tape. We got those phones, in time to make about 2 months worth of calls, almost 18,000 calls. So, he is experienced in cutting through red tape, which I think is an admirable quality in any government official. So, I think it's another reason why I'm supporting him.
What do you see in Pete Snyder as a candidate for lieutenant governor that you believe will play downstate?
Well, I think that the notion of a job creator and as particularly in the technology industry, I think that is something that sort of transcends geographical boundaries. I mean, this is someone who understands what it takes for a business to grow and how regulations and how too much government can get in the way of economic development. And I think we see that, in the coal industry, they're having to deal with that from the EPA. I think they're having to deal with, all these types of healthcare is going to start to see this, and that's not something that's unique to Northern Virginia. I mean, you're going to see these problems cropping up throughout a variety of industries, and so any place where you're trying to build industries or develop a company, somebody with that experience and somebody who's navigated those minefields successfully, I think, is someone who can bring a lot to the table.
And Mike, you know that these types of elections that are not centered around a presidential election, and Virginia with its constant political cycle is, it can be vulnerable to this. How do you think Pete will play to younger voters? Will he bring a more youthful movement back to the GOP across the state?
I think so. I think he's ideally positioned to do that. Frankly, I think he's a young, relatively young person himself, and I think that if you look at the kinds of things he's doing in his campaign, I mean, he's doing things like a tailgate at the Redskins football game, on Sunday. He's doing.
We love that pig rig.
The pig rig is it's delicious and it's fun, and those are the sorts of things that I think will be attractive to somebody. I'm 38. I'm sort of in the middle there, but these are the sorts of things that I can relate to, and I think young people will relate to as well.
What has been interesting to us about Snyder, beyond some of the campaign things that you've mentioned, which are certainly innovative, is that we've interviewed many of these candidates several times, all of them at least once, and he comes on and he talks about big ideas: constitutional amendment for school choice, elimination of the corporate income tax in Virginia, a new way to fund transportation by getting private enterprises involved and having a combination of tolls and some other things. We haven't heard that level of specifics out of some of the other candidates, but when you go specific, sometimes it backfires. How do you think it'll play out here?
I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, for me, personally, I like to hear that. To me, it's someone he's obviously thought about these issues. He's someone who understands how these issues interplay with personal, business. I mean, he's experienced it. He knows what it's like to run a business, and he knows how these issues will affect, business people and other folks. So I think that these big ideas are big ideas, but they're born of somebody who's actually had to live this and knows where the pitfalls are and knows what it takes to make an economy strong. So I think it's a good move, and I think it as you say, I mean, it's a distinguishing one.
Mike, are you also going to make an endorsement in the Attorney General's race between Delegate Rob Bell and Senator Mark Obenshain?
I have officially endorsed Mark Obenshain, and I think that there was a press release about that a couple weeks ago. And I think they're both great. I think, I like Mark very much, and we have worked on things together, for a few years. So I did endorse Mark. I think Rob Bell would also be a great Attorney General. That's a very close one. But I have endorsed Mark, and I am supporting him for Attorney General.
By the way, before we let you go, I just have one quick question, Mike. Are you the genius behind the retiredjimmoran.com website?
Yes, that's us.
Hi, yes.
Very good.
I knew I was a fan of yours.
Thank you. No, our webmaster, Tommy Valentine, is sort of the intrepid reporter who has captured the various moments on video that have made that site so popular. but our committee is the responsible party, so to speak.
There you go. I fully endorse you in that regard.
That
RetiredJimMoran.com, a brilliant website.
Very well done. Almost, it's right up there with I'mNotLarrySabdo.com.
Exactly.
It's right up there with that. Hey, Mike, we want to thank you for your time. I got one final question we got to take off. Just
Sure.
up or down answer, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think? Do you think Bill Bowling is going to run for governor as an independent? Yes or no?
I have no inside information, but I think the answer is no.
Okay.
There you
Mike
go.
Ginsberg, chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia, 8th District. Big announcement, has endorsed Pete Snyder for lieutenant governor on our show. Previous to that, he's endorsed Mark Obenshain for the Republican nomination for Attorney General over Delegate Rob Bell. Hey, Mike, we want to thank you for your time.